You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
I like it. What is up? Welcome to another episode of Game Control Rewind. Today we are deconstructing Dishonored. I'm joined across the table by one of the smartest men in gaming, Nick Long.
I know. For a second, I was like, okay, Donell.
I know.
Okay, Nick.
No. That's totally me. I'm up and coming.
He looked really confident.
Get a conquer.
Stressed. You were edge of your seat. I don't know. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you.
Welcome, Nick. We're also joined by one of the other smartest men in gaming.
Thank you.
Handsomest man in gaming.
Thank you.
Donell Tucker.
You know, big shout out to also Alicia White. She said we were handsome men.
I know. It was really kind of her,
Very
right?
kind.
I mean,
So,
I don't know how else she sees, but it's fine.
It's like, look, you should get out. There's way more handsome men out
way better
there.
looking people on the web. We're talking about Dishonored, gentlemen.
Yes.
The question I want to ask off the top is high chaos, low chaos.
Low chaos.
Low.
Okay, I'm over here on this side represents the high chaos, suck at stealth element of this game.
Son of a.
I'm on record as saying just how bad I am. So my intention playing the game was to go as stealthy as long as possible, and then when shit went sideways, it was just on.
Yeah.
Yep. That's typical. That's typical.
Yeah. I just started a second playthrough actually, going high chaos. So I'm about the third way through.
Okay. And what's your experience been as you played both styles?
I just I feel like I'm zoning out more in high chaos.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, dudes, well, stab, you know, like. Whereas when playing low chaos, I would like always find a perch, you know, and then like just study the patterns and then blink my way around everything. Whereas now I'm just walking, not even caring.
Wow. I mean, that's the crazy thing about the game is that there's so many different ways of approaching the course, I guess, because it's not like an open map. It's you go to a certain map, it loads up, and then it's like a playground. It's like go in there and have fun. So in his case, he was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk through this because you can just blink to that target instantly and be done with this mission in like 5 minutes. And so it definitely offers different playthroughs and going back again. For me, I'm a big stealth guy. I love stealth because it's a challenge, to be quiet, get in there stealth, and try not to alert anyone. And definitely Dishonored is very hard on that, on the first-person stealth, because sometimes it could be a little buggy. Sometimes there was a guy here on the side, and I tried to go, behind him, and I think it's block, and it to do a silent kill, but the position he was in caused me just to go like this, and then he got alerted, and then.
So, I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes gushing about how the moment-to-moment gameplay is some of the best I've ever played, and the mechanics are, like, impossibly good. But I will say the game, if I had to have level 1 criticism against the game, it didn't do a good job of informing the player when I was hidden, which ultimately why I decided to go the high chaos. I mean, admittedly, I suck at stealth gaming, but but in my mind, I rationalized it by saying I'm not entirely sure when I'm hidden. The game does a poor job of communicating that to the player, so
I think most 3D games have a very hard time like displaying that, right? If you walked around the entire game with guys with cones coming out of their faces and like you had like spheres popping out of the ground from when you walked and stuff like that, it would just be chaotic. It would look horrible.
Sure.
And they kind of do a good job with that with the dark vision, which kind of channels that, but but they have to mute all the other colors other than what's relevant to the gameplay, and you lose a lot of the like really awesome atmosphere that's in Dunwall. And so, as far as 3D stealth games go, they do a good job of broadcasting, I think, information, but that's just really hard. Like, you play Mark of the Ninja, you know exactly when you're hidden, when you're seen. It's so clear, so easy, so fun. Whereas in Dishonored, just by nature of it being 3D is a little more difficult, but it was still very fun. And to me, I enjoy kind of a little randomness in my stealth. And so I was okay with that. So
like Metro Last Light had a really elegant solution. I know it sounds trite, but you just a little dot on your watch. When the dot was lit up, you were out of sight.
Right.
And how the watch knew, I don't know, but it worked from a play. It worked.
But I guess in that sort of setting, it wouldn't really make sense for him to have a watch. That,
Magic exists here. Like, I mean, they can do a lot of things.
You have a heart that tells you the thoughts of everyone it points at. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But that's believable because of the settings of, it's steampunked. It's that
Right.
sort of like, they should have had some sort of clock because I guess that's steampunk in a way.
Yeah.
But the setting around that, I just didn't feel like I needed an icon to tell me if I was in the shadow or not. Like I can almost figure that out myself. Like almost like, okay, he's looking that way. Of course he doesn't see me.
Sure.
You know? And I'll try to stay to the side of the wall and into the shadow. So something like, that would help on like, they can't see me. It's a little bit too much like hitting the nail on the head. You know, it just feels like I should learn from the challenge that they present me how to do this stealth game. So I really feel like they didn't need to really put out there an icon that just says like, you're in the shadows.
Sure.
Yeah, I think whether you're seen or not is very well broadcasted with the little lightning bolts.
Yeah.
So like that part's broadcasted.
And the audible cue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's not broadcasted is when you will be seen, you know, like how far can this guard see, things like that, which, you know, like that could be a design choice as well, to not know exactly what you want and things like that. And I understand that some people hate it, but I enjoyed it.
Because you get that sort of game like, I can think of, I'm trying to think of Splinter Cell, maybe the old ones, where it's like, what was that?
Right.
Okay, let me just go back to my normal stuff.
The chat just mentioned Splinter Cell as well. Webslinger said that he thought Splinter Cell did a really great job of informing the player and wished that this game had done something similar.
Yeah, the one thing I don't like about Splinter Cell is it had that spectrum of like light visibility.
Yep.
And I had no idea where on that spectrum was good.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's a
what
good
was the
point.
limit on that? That's why I really like Mark of the Ninja. You're either in shadows or you're not.
Right.
You know, I think making that a binary choice is actually really smart. And that's what I liked about Dishonored is it stayed away from kind of the spectrum-y things. It did have binary things about shadows, but they just didn't broadcast that to you.
Yep.
Right.
So I thought that was smart.
So let's get any other potential criticisms out of the way, because after that I just want to gush. So,
About how good it was?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be very effusive of
get
my
the bad
love for
out.
this.
Right.
I'm interested. Do you guys have any other criticisms you want to level against the kind of design choices potentially?
The story I had a little problem with.
Let's get into the narrative.
Just a
shall
little
we?
one, or
Well, let's just get into the. I got a page of notes on the narrative, my friend. What a disappointment it was. No, go ahead, please speak to it.
Here's the thing. It wasn't a disappointment. It's just, I think the beginning is what's really rough. I think they kind of put you in there just a little bit too quick and not let you develop this environment and the characters. It was kind of like, hey, there's a little girl, let's go play hide and seek. Okay, she seems like a nice girl. And then it's like, you should care for her because you have to go rescue her. And it's like, I really don't feel like I got to break out and people are telling me what to do, but I don't feel motivated.
100%. I saved Emily because people told me to. There was zero emotional resonance.
Right.
And I did think that the hide and seek was kind of brilliant. It didn't. It wasn't successful in connecting you emotionally, but from a mechanics perspective, how cool was that?
Yeah.
You're playing a game. It's a tutorial essentially, learning how to navigate the environment while playing hide and seek. I thought it was
learning your crouch icon.
Yeah. Hey, I'm crouching.
Thanks,
You do
UI.
that in this game. Okay.
it.
Okay, so
Yeah, I mean, it was just the story was a little rough to get into, so yeah, it was just kind of like, you must go here and stuff, and it's like, okay, and then I did it, but towards the end, I kind of felt like that sort of like, okay, I kind of care for Emily, and I think it really did good at the very end to kind of, you know, give it a nice story. But is it a complex story? Is it really makes you think like BioShock Infinite, and you go, oh my god, what is my life?
realign your perceptions of reality.
It doesn't need that. It doesn't need that.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't going for that, no.
Right, it can be a basic story of like saving a girl and determining, hey, you have all these tools. Are you going to choose the side of good and evil and the outcome of it?
Here's the thing. I don't need a good story. One of my favorite movies is Face Off. You know, like
Face
Off. But
Yo, good looking.
thank you.
That was well choreographed. Can I just say that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, joining us in the booth, Mr. John Quick.
yeah.
I didn't even announce you.
I'm not joining in on it as
didn't think you
I've
were.
not played Dishonored, but
Okay.
I just had to chime in right there.
Excellent, sir.
But-
Please continue to do that.
But Face Off's plot I enjoyed more than Dishonored because
A 1,000,000%.
they do some really weird things with Dishonored. They keep a lot of your relationships opaque. right? So
Sure.
in the beginning, you're just like, oh, you're the queen's bodyguard. Here's the queen's daughter.
Yep.
And especially if you go low chaos, they really hint at that you're actually the queen's lover and that Emily's your daughter. And they keep that from you, which is really weird. And Corvo would know that.
Yeah.
Right?
You would think.
You would think, yeah. Unless, anyway.
I don't know. The legions of illegitimate children that I have scattered about, God, this continent alone are just, it's absurd.
You can find him at Now Quick on Twitter.
Get that child support.
Just got married.
Get that paper, son.
But yeah, like, I think Corvo would remember an affair with the Empress or not. I don't know.
You would think.
Right. Especially if it was
She's
ongoing.
not a random one-night stand. She is the Empress. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was thinking about this in terms of Red Dead Redemption and about how much I wanted to rescue John Marston's wife and kid, even though I never met them.
Yeah.
Like you are put in media res. They're already gone. They're already kidnapped.
Sure.
Or held hostage, I guess. And you have to go find them. Whereas in Dishonored, you are shown essentially your wife and your child, but you don't know that you're supposed to have that attachment, and they refuse to use those words and try to build up this relationship instead.
Right.
But it kind of falls flat. Whereas just using the words wife and son in Red Dead Redemption, you're like, oh, I gotta go get him.
Yeah.
Like you get so excited
Right.
about it. Whereas in Dishonored, you're like, I guess I should care about Emily.
Sure.
And then like when she drew the picture of like it said dad and it had like a scary skull mask on it, I was like, oh,
That's a pretty picture.
well, I gave up caring a long time ago.
Sorry to inform you, daughter. I don't care about you. I don't.
Well, the thing is, would you feel, because when you brought up Red Dead Redemption, the main character does talk, so you do see the actor acting.
Yep.
So you then encompass his emotion to save it, rather than having I don't speak. So then you're just looking through the eyes, and I think that's their problem of getting you connected. It's because it's not the problem of like, oh, they should have had voice in it.
Yeah.
It's just if you don't have voice in it, there's a certain way of designing a game to make you understand the story and then make you feel for it.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's just they rushed into it a little bit.
Well, I think they went about it the right way. If you were playing hide and seek and she was calling you dad the whole time, it would change your perception of the entire story.
100%. And for me, that's a much more powerful narrative device to say
Right.
somebody that is family, right? There's nothing
Yeah.
more important than family. So I'm going to break down walls to go get my
Yeah, or if
daughter.
like the Empress kissed you on the cheek when you got back, like
Yeah.
it would change absolutely everything
And he
about this
doesn't need to talk.
story.
Like,
Yeah,
that can just be all
And
the
then-
characters
yeah.
telling you the story.
it already starts as a weird place. Like I don't know, like Anita Sarkeesian's like tropes in women kind of cites Dishonored as like one of the biggest violators of the woman in the fridge trope.
Yep.
Which, for those of you who don't know, it's when the male character has a female that he cares about, and she's violently murdered. And then that's the driving force throughout the whole story, which is the case. But again, you just didn't even know that was the case before. You didn't know that this was your lover, right?
And if you would have known, you would have then been like more appreciative of
Right.
doing the mission, the objective, rather than being like
Yeah.
a soldier, like a dog.
Yeah, it has the trope without having the benefit of the trope,
Right.
Like instantly motivating you, so it's just. Yeah, I did not appreciate how it started, and then I didn't appreciate anything about the constructed narrative afterwards.
No.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that third act
Okay.
blunder.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick, talk about this. I mean, the betrayal that we see
Right.
coming a mile away if you've used the heart at all. It's
At all,
so
yeah.
broadcast.
Yep.
Yeah. Before we kind of get to this, I want to talk about that heart because it was a genius. It was genius
Genius.
for setting. It was a genius for like characterizing the NPCs, but then it straight up ruins this constructed plot.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the second you get the heart, you're like, oh, I can learn people's thoughts, and so you do it around your home base. And it's like Admiral Havlock wants to kill you. Like, oh, jeez.
Well, okay. And you're supposed to just be friends after that. Like, I just got that knowledge, and we're just gonna be buddy buddy.
Where's the dialogue choice of I know you're trying to kill me, I'll kill you first? Like,
Right. Exactly.
Well, I mean, this is kind of a British-inspired game. He was like, "Oh dear, this is quite awkward."
yeah. Oh, jeez. I know.
It would
but
be amazing if we had it right now, and then as you were talking to me about this game, Patrick's like, "God damn, Donell, I would have slid his throat." And I'm
Thinking
just
he
like,
was so smart over there.
"Buddy, you want me to talk about this on it?
Totally. Let's go.
Let's do it."
Going to blows.
And so after you kill what they refer to as the final target, you kill the I can't remember the super sweet name they give the guy.
Yeah,
Lord Regent.
Yep. Okay.
The Lord Regent.
Yep.
Oliver
That is
Cromwell,
super
essentially.
sweet, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Lord
Regent
Yeah.
Nick.
Yeah, it's like stolen from Lord Protector. But anyway, so yeah, when you kill the Lord Regent, you're like, well, that's it. Except I know I've only been playing this game 8 hours, and I know that this guy wants to kill me. They're like, have a drink, Corvo. And then the camera's like, drink. You're like, oh, that's poison.
Oh, okay.
And then like, for a game that like your character doesn't talk,
Yep.
You have all the agency in the gameplay.
Yep.
There's so much gameplay agency. They immediately remove it from you. So to drink this water you know is poisoned.
Yeah.
It makes every bit of sense in the world for Corvo to drink this, like to know that it's poisoned. Because he has this magic heart. And he just does it anyway. You're like, well, okay, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, yeah.
So part of me really, I'm of two minds on the heart because we're on the same page. It is genius. It delivers exposition at your own pace.
Yeah.
But I mean, it really tipped that off and made that third act just a complete blunder.
Right.
Yeah, and it also like tells you about Dunwall and about, you know, how this was really built on classism and has this really interesting history. It tells you about the whales and all these things. But then you're right. It makes the third act totally pointless, totally predicted, and just like I don't know. Talking about third act blunders, I can't stop thinking about BioShock 1. Whereas the beginning of the third act was like the most amazing moment, and it just like surprises you.
Just, yeah.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
And whereas the beginning of the third act in Dishonored, you're like, yeah, all right.
It's like, I knew this coming.
I
Okay,
think-
I gotta get to the lighthouse.
And I
Got it.
think the story was fine. I mean, so I'm
Like I said, yeah, it's fine.
It's serviceable, right?
It's fine. It doesn't need to be super like, oh, I need it to blow my mind, like as you referenced to
Absolutely.
BioShock.
You know, but it's a wasted opportunity. They could have really said something about classism and power, and there's just a wasted
Right.
opportunity.
And
I think that's why it was so disappointing.
That's another point I wanted, because I feel like, and I see this in a lot of games sometimes, but they leave journals and stuff that you can read, and
Yeah.
that's great. But I feel like sometimes they use that in a way to the people who maybe don't look into that so deep and look at every corner.
Yeah.
They might not understand the story of like, wait, how did the plague happen? Who's the outsider? You
Yeah.
know, that sort of stuff. And I feel like it's a balance that you need to achieve where if I do that extra work and look around, it should be more about the people around there rather than just the security cards, you know? It should just be about classism
Yeah.
and certain ways of having certain stories that, so people who don't read it, because they're not super into like getting every like
Right.
Nick and Cooney corner.
You know, Cooney.
Cranny,
I was going
cranny,
with
that's
it,
the
yeah.
word you're going for.
Yeah,
Cranny.
Nick and Cranny, there it
Nick
is.
and Cooney.
Yeah. It's a new buddy cop show on ABC. I'll tune in.
Nick's
Oh,
smart
the
one.
overt racism.
Yeah.
Cooney, we gotta get to some action. Whoa!
Tuesdays at 8 o'clock.
I just imagine him trying to do the Dukes of Hazzard slide. Just, like, face plants it. Oh, Cooney. Classic Cooney.
Classic.
I love that one word.
Yeah,
Just totally ruined
I'm going to bring it up the rest of the show. Don't worry about it. You know, but like, so Nick and I on our show, we have a podcast called Pixel by Pixel. We talk about how every episode we talk about how we want better narrative in gaming, better narrative in gaming. I feel a little bit hypocritical because in this game, I just didn't care. It was serviceable, and the moment to moment was so good. I was in love with this game.
Right. Like, I think the moment was so good.
So good.
It was super good enough to make it one of our like top 5 of the year last year.
Yeah,
Like,
number
it was amazing.
3.
Something
so
like
where we
that.
finished.
Yeah.
Probably top 2 for me personally.
Yeah, it was so good. But then like imagine if it had like a very harmonious narrative with it. It would have been number 1.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
very easily.
Right.
And I think it just comes down to, you know, there's just some choices. Like they could have just been more opaque with the heart, right? So like they could have talked about how Admiral Havelock kind of grew up lower class and kind of grew up abused,
Right.
but didn't have to say he's been plotting and scheming his whole life. He's the one that wants the power. You're like, well, I could have gathered that from the other like hints.
Yeah.
You know. I think there was a lot of wasted potential, but then you're also kind of entering the territory of talking about what the game is not, you know, which is a
Which is a slippery slope.
yeah, it's a weird territory.
I would
Why wasn't
agree.
it open world? Why didn't I have cars? You know, like it's just weird. But
Why didn't you-
It had a bow.
Yeah, Cooney was in it for just a second. Classic Cooney.
why didn't I have whale cars? But yeah, but again, like, this is one of the very few games that's just like, skip the cutscene. Like, I just want to start playing it because the gameplay was so good.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. I never skip a cutscene, but here I really could have.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the mechanics. I think this is like one of the most beautiful examples of deliberate design I've seen in gaming in years.
Yeah, and emergent, like deliberately emergent, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So one of the things I wanted to ask you was, okay, so the game's essentially level by level. You have a target. You can you can non-lethally or lethally. It's Hitman-ish.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see, Donell, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Go for it.
Talk to me about your favorite kill or non-kill if you went non-lethal. Like, what happened? How did you execute it? Because I think that's the fun in discussing this game, are some of those emergent emerging gameplay possibilities.
For me, I love doing the most like elaborate sort of.
Okay,
Doing
go
stuff.
on.
So, and I know the abilities, you can add a bunch of like, I can make rats, add a spring bomb, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then control it, and then go in there and explode it.
That was my go-to move. I was John Woo.
That was my first thing I
It
did.
was the best. When I realized that you could put a mine on a rat, it was just
then
like,
send it out
yeah, I
and
think I
explode.
called
You're like-
you. I'm like, guess what I just did? Incredible.
That's an amazing mechanic.
Yep.
But here's my thing about it.
Okay.
It uses so much of your powers that I didn't really use as much because I was in stealth.
Right.
So for me, it's about getting through there without killing anybody and being stealth, because this is essentially, I feel like, a very stealth game. You can go bashing and
And I did.
And you did, and that
I killed all of Dunwall.
everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead or a weeper.
But I really think like they made this a stealth thing. Like that was their first kind of thing. And then they're like, well, yeah, you don't want to do it for one, because even in like Bethesda even kind of put this as a stealth game. Like they even kind of hint this like, look, this is the way to play is stealth. So the way I did the target was very like quiet. I think I forgot the first one, but where you brand them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
What happened? Like, paint me a picture.
okay. Well, it all started.
I was born at a very young age.
The Dark Knight. I stood perched on the balcony. It was raining,
Just me and Cooney.
but not outside, just inside me.
So basically, it's me blinking, blink, blink, blink. You know,
Okay.
because that's I love that.
Right.
That's just to get up to ledges. It's a really good mechanics to get there.
The last complaint I promise is that it didn't inform me blink distance. Sometimes I got frustrated about that. Yeah, I didn't.
Doesn't it inform you by glowing a little bit more?
From a distance perspective, I wasn't sure I could
So
make
you have
certain
bad
things.
eyes.
I'm bad at stealth.
no,
Like, look, we're established. This side of the table sucks at stealth. It's fine.
No, I can totally understand that. Like,
Yeah.
there is a certain point at which you're like, can I make that? Like, there so many times when I was stealthing, I blinked in front of guys when I thought I was blinking
Right.
behind them.
Oh, hello. I didn't
Surprise!
I really didn't have that problem because I would sit there and I
Yeah.
would plan out and I would see and test like, oh, my blink can't reach there.
Yeah.
How can I get closer?
Yeah.
But I went in there. I waited for him to come. I think there's a drink where you can poison him.
Yeah.
Or you can. That's the thing I love it. You can poison it. You can actually hit the drinks.
Yeah.
And breaks, and then they go in somewhere else.
You can actually hit the drink.
Yeah.
Oh.
Again, I didn't know. This is why I love this game.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know there's two options where it's like, oh, you can switch it, or you can not put out the poison or something like that. Because the other guy's trying to kill the. I
Yeah,
forgot
you're
his
sent there
name.
to rescue the
Right.
Grand Overseer or whatever.
Right. And so you can
And-
switch the drink,
yeah.
you can just leave it there. Or what I did, I came in there and you slash it and it breaks. So when they come in, they're like, oh, apparently our drinks have been. That's
Interesting. I
odd.
didn't even know this
And
was a
then
possibility.
They go into another room. And then
Smart.
from there, I'm like in the bookcase because they can't see me.
Yeah.
Again. I don't know how.
'Cause you're
but
Batman.
I'm Batman.
Yeah.
But I come in there. I of course kidnapped him. I bring him to the chair and I brand him. And that's what I love to do. I know there's other ways to do it. I've seen other playthroughs of it, but that's the way I feel like the game wants me to do.
Yeah.
it. You know?
Interesting.
So I love to give what it wants, and it gives back a quite satisfying scene when you brand them, and it's like, whoa.
That's awesome. So I want to hear yours too, Nick.
Yeah.
But I want to speak to this. So you said it was interesting to me that you felt that the game wanted you to play that way. I admittedly I'm on record as sucking at stealth games, but I actually felt that this was the design in this was genius because most of these systems-driven AI games are really punitive when you get caught.
Yeah.
They go boing, and then you can shoot your way
Might
out
as
of it.
well
but
be
it's-
game over.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fail state, and you have to restart.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. The checkpoints are not that far apart.
Yeah, they're
and that's
not.
what makes it different from being like, oh, I'm so frustrated, into being more of like, you know what? Let me try it again. I can do this time. But I can understand as somebody who doesn't want to keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
Sure.
For me, again, stealth-wise, that's my sort of game, is to do it over and over again.
But this game is not that game, though, right? It's
Yeah.
not punitive in any way. You feel very empowered, once you are caught. Because I would play that to an extent, right? I mean, I would get whatever strategic advantage I could garner from being stealthy, and then shit went sideways, and I'm going out, but I'm putting putting traps on raps and blowing people up, and stabbing all of the necks.
Right.
all necks were stabbed.
And what sort of ending did you get?
So I got.
Was it a good ending? No. And that,
Well,
that's
to be
the-
clear, they're both really bad endings.
Well, the good ending, I think it's a better one than the other one. Because I feel like that just shows you the game is telling you got a bad ending because your chaos was high. You were running and gunning. Now, as much as fun that was.
Yeah, I played
is the way to go.
I think I'm gonna have to disagree that the game makes a judgment about which ending's good or bad because
Oh, here we go again. Contraire.
classic Cooney. But I really think that because in the dark ending, it really paints the picture that Dunwall was a terrible place, and you're doing yourself and Emily a favor by getting out of there, or because the bad ending, Patrick, Emily becomes like a tyrant, right?
Yeah. It depends. So there's three, right?
Yeah.
You can.
She's good. She's like, hey, they solve the plague.
You're low chaos, and you save her.
Yeah.
There's high chaos. There's two different high chaos endings. He can just jump off with her.
Right.
And that's kind of like, man, you left the world a really shitty place, Corvo thing.
But
Well
you and
done.
Emily were together. Yeah,
Right. And then there's you save Emily, and whether your name's mentioned or not throughout the book, the history books, she'll always knew you were there. So I actually felt pretty good about the ending.
There's also one where she dies.
Right.
Yeah.
Where Emily dies and everything is still crappy.
Yep.
And you know what?
And David Bowie's there telling you did a terrible job. He's David Bowie from The Labyrinth is the outsider. He's what's the magic song? Jump, magic, jump. Okay.
But even in the good
Last
ending,
time
they're
people hear me sing.
they're like, well, Corvo, you kind of only prevented what was eventually going to be Dunwall's downfall. You only delayed it. It makes it so ominous regardless or something like that.
Sure.
I still think the good ending, you kind of save it. It's on its brink to get good, to become the golden age rather than the dark age.
I'll give you that, and maybe that is the triumphant. But I enjoyed it, and my point was that I didn't feel punitive. When I got caught, I was empowered to fight my way out of it, and got really creative with some of these gameplay possibilities.
Right,
unbelievable.
And that's the thing. It kind of sucks too, because as they put a lot of work into it, right? It's I can go through this door, hit the corner, go up, take out the 2 cards, or I can just blink up there and get them and be done with it. And I kind of feel like, I don't know if that's a good design or a smart design, because I feel like, well, you put all your
Is it good or smart? I don't know.
I don't know. Because
yes,
probably both.
Yeah, smart and good.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm just teasing you.
the verticality is incredible in this game, right?
Yeah.
Because if you put a lot of work into building something and someone just cuts the corner and cheats, do you feel like, God dang it, I gotta stop that? Or do you feel like, oh, I'll welcome that?
Arcane was definitely the latter.
Absolutely.
Arcane definitely said, awesome.
Yeah.
Now we can tune that route. That's what they constantly did. There's one of the combos I got towards the end of the game is you get your agility, so you run super fast.
Yeah.
Then you can double jump, and I have an extra super far blink.
Right.
And then I can possess something even farther away from that. Right. I skipped a third of the whole last level doing that.
Right.
And at first that wasn't planned for. And I'm like, well, now we can plan around that. That should be pretty cool.
Right.
And I think that's one of the reasons why Arcane is so good, is because they embrace, because what they constantly said is this is a player-driven game. So if the player wants to do something, we'll enable the player to do it. And that's exactly how it feels with Dishonored. If you want to stab so many necks that your friends will think you're a sociopath, you can stab all those necks.
On top of that, it rewards you for it. It says, okay, you're the type of gamer who enjoys stabbing necks. Not only that, but they give you more necks to stab. They introduce the weepers, right? And I thought that was really clever. This dude likes killing dudes. Here's more.
Here's more.
They're rewarding you for
kill.
Yep.
Right, and you like playing stealthy. Well, we'll kind of reduce the number of guys. It's an incredibly smart game, and especially mechanically, about all these rewards and things like that.
Right. But I feel like the backlash of cheating is that some people say, oh, it's only an hour game. I played it and I beat it in an hour. That's not worth $60. I'm just saying, the backslash of maybe a lot of people not understanding, oh, well, if you play it this way, you'll get a lot more hours.
If you beat Dishonored in an hour, please let me know.
I want to see that speed run. That's impressive.
I normally don't watch speedruns, but I would see that.
But yeah, so it's just the backlash, because I think a lot of reviewers said it was 10 hours, right? For me, it wasn't 10 hours. It was a lot more, because I was doing stealth and had to redo it over and over again. So for me, it was worth my $60.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's just that sort of backlash of well, if I let the player cheat, then they're going to just say, well, this is only a 2-hour game. How useless. I wanted more than 9 chapters.
Right.
Yeah, going back to what Patrick was saying about how, I played it stealthy too, but I never reloaded when I got caught.
Okay.
That was kind of a rule I had, that I should, that I believe.
Tough rule.
Well, I believe that stealth games, escape mechanics should be fun. Getting out of stealth. That's one of the things I really like about Assassin's Creed, and I just it kind of helps the role playing aspect of the game.
Sure.
And it gave me so many tools to just get out of jams like that. Like a lot of times I would like blink into an area and like 3 guards would see me at once. I was like, oh shoot. So but then I could just stop time, fire a sleep arrow at all 3 guys, unstop it, and then they'd all be asleep instantly.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I could go on with my game. Didn't have to reload a checkpoint. I'm like, all right. Keep going, and then but that drained my resources, and I thought it was a beautiful way to do it. I love that I could have a stealth game and I could fail and kind of reset myself without having to restart a checkpoint and without having to kill anybody. I thought that was a beautiful way to do it. This game is so careful and awesome.
It really is. I mean, it's fantastically designed. Talk to me about your favorite kill. What was the moment that just was transcendent for you as you're playing?
You know, it was actually the same one. It was the Overseer.
Okay.
What I liked about this is I enjoy lots of careful planning, but I also enjoy improvising in games. I think that's really fun. So I came into the room where the drink is from the window. I think most people do. It's just easy to blink up there and sneak along. So I went in the window, and I'm like, I like got the rune on top of the bookcase, and I'm like sitting on top of the bookcase. I'm getting really anxious. I'm like, they're gonna notice a guy standing on the bookcase. And so
proceed as normal. Guys on bookcases.
Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
I'm just standing here with a knife and a scary mask. Just continue on.
That mask is terrifying.
I know, right?
But so then I hear them coming. I'm like, so I freak out and I just go under the table. And I'm just like staring at the door where they walk in from under the table. And then I walk in. They walk in. They start having their conversation. I'm like, oh no, I don't want the guy to die. So I just pop out and sleep dart both of them real quick. I'm like, oh, geez. And then all of a sudden I hear guards outside. I'm like, hey, they stopped talking. What's going on? Check it out. I'm like, oh no.
Oh.
So then the Benny Hill theme starts.
Mine comes into play here too.
Yeah, and so then I'm like, so I pick up like the guy I'm supposed to rescue. Who's going to become the Overseer, and I like pick him up and I like go around the corner and I like place him on like the rafter, like outside or the edge outside. So
Okay.
Just, like, kind of hanging out. I'm like, so that I come in, I pick up the Overseer, the current Overseer, and I run out and I sneak along to like the place where you brained him.
Yep.
And I did that, and so what was just like the funnest moment of that was definitely like I'm looking at these 2 guys asleep, and then all of a sudden I hear, oh, what was that? I'm like, oh no.
Yep. What do I do now?
Yeah, and so
Under the carpet. Under the carpet. It's not going to work.
don't worry about the lumps in the carpet and my bloody knife.
Just blood seeping through the carpet. It's fine.
Good.
Yeah, I mean,
I love the red dye.
Listen, I know that I'm wearing a skull mask and a hood, and I'm covered with somebody else's blood clutching a weapon.
Right.
But that is no reason to like profile me right now.
feeling very judged. Okay, just stay in your space.
Man,
I think
Time alone.
I want a Johnny Depp version of Corvo where you just talk your way out of everything like you're drunk.
So I think my favorite one was, do you guys remember the masquerade ball?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I thought was convenient. It's a masquerade ball. You're wearing the scary mask. You fit right in.
Yeah.
So you
Perfect.
you sneak into it, and the premise is you have to do a little bit of detective work, but it's not so first-person shootery. You're just watching, looking at all the opulence around you. It was gorgeous. I mean, the art. Can we say the art direction in this game is freaking paralleled?
Oh man, I wish I remember that guy's name. He also made City 17 from Half-Life 2.
It dripped of City 17 a lot. You know, with the tall boys and the.
Yeah.
But we went in, and this is when I was on my gonna try and do stealthy kick, and that went well. So I determined which of the 3 ladies I'm supposed to kill.
Right.
I'd gone upstairs. I don't remember if you guys remember this level, but I'd taken out a guard and hit him, I thought, sufficiently.
Right.
So I got the dialogue option where I was, she's like, you want to go upstairs? I'm like, yeah, let's go upstairs. Let's go upstairs, me and my date. So I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, you're in
Get her
really
alone.
creepy territory.
I know, it's so gross. What the non-lethal is grosser. That's super rapey.
I was going to share my story.
Yeah, okay, please do.
Does it involve a sleep dart?
Oh my god.
It's getting really roofy-y in here. So like I went upstairs and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll put her to sleep. I'm gonna take her to this dude or whatever. She sees the guy that I'd taken out and apparently hid well enough. And then again, she runs down, alerts everybody in this whole thing. All 3 sisters run to a corner and just sit and just shake. And so I got to do something. So I offed her in front of her two sisters. It was terrible, but like, okay. And then fought everybody else in the house. And like, but like, literally this was like an hour and a half setup of like, this is going to be, I'm going to ghost this. And nope, I did the opposite of ghosting it. I'm on the news for years after this. It was terrible.
cow.
So what was your experience in that too?
So I was just walking around doing the sleuthing.
Right.
And
The
then
sleuthing.
super crazy guy comes up and he's like, by the way, you know, like, I'm in love with the woman you're trying to kill.
So creepy.
Yeah,
This
you're like-
dude, Captain Creepo, like walking Amber Alert.
Right. Where I was like, okay, this guy's obviously kind of weird, but it might just be his like upper class weirdness, you know, like he might just be out of touch. So I'm like, all right.
Rich people are crazy.
He's like, well, if you happen
Rich
to find
people
her,
be crazy, am I right?
but cray, man. Anyway, but
Again, Cooney, right?
classic. Tuna.
Classic Coney.
But so I was like, so I found him, and he's like, yeah, you know, just if you do find her, keep her alive and just bring her to the basement for me. And I was like, okay. So I'm pretty oblivious at this point, which is sad, because that what it is that like there's like a canal in the basement, so you can like get out. Yeah, you did non-lethal, you know.
Yep.
You homies over there.
Yeah.
You know.
We got it.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
So anyway, you guys that step
bodies in
next. That's what this is.
Yeah, it's just, you know, that's
they're
funny. That's
alive
the good
bodies.
option. That's the better of the two.
Well, I think that was
Corvo's terrible.
Offered in front of the two sisters.
I mean, yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
That's true. Took her head off. The sisters won't be right ever either.
One of the few smart things that they did about the plot was that they didn't really make the non-lethal options better, and that's what kind of leads me to believe that the low chaos ending isn't necessarily better. It's just lower chaos. Things are more in order. Doesn't mean they're necessarily better. And so this was like kind of the waking moment of like she may have been better dead.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have like solved my own mistake. But anyway, so I found her. She's like, and I like say like, oh, you know, let me play you piano or something like that. And so we go into the piano room and I close all the doors in the piano room. She's like, oh, why don't you play me something? And I'm like, yes. And then I choke her out.
Wow. Yes. And then you deliver to Captain Creepo.
Yeah, okay. Well, I really liked how I delivered it to Captain Creepo, though. But anyway, so like I just used time stop, blink, and all my mana potions. So in one instant she was there, and then the next instant she was in the bathroom, or basement.
Basement, right.
And then so you deliver them on the boat. I'm like, oh yay! Now these people that are in love can go away and live happily ever after. And
Or you just helped Lord Date Rapey.
oh, that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly
Because then
what
he
happens.
says- he's like so ominously. He's like, I have some plans for you, my love. And you're just like, oh no! like, you're like, geez, what did I do?
God, what am I doing?
Yeah, and they also kind of try to point you towards the direction of like these nobles get what they deserve.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
very much. Again, like, they
Especially-
had a chance to say
right.
something about classes.
Yeah,
over
especially
here.
like the level before, the two brothers.
That was my
Pendleton.
favorite non-lethal, where their tongues are cut out, I
Yeah,
believe,
yeah,
and then
so-
sent down a mine.
Yeah, so that's just like told to you that their heads are shaved, their tongues are cut out, and they're sent to their own mine where they make people work in inhumane conditions.
Fantastic.
Which is like excellent poetic
Yes.
justice.
They
Yes,
deserve
but
that.
Yeah.
getting to that point was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you shock that guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though you did the lethal option?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now, that was one of the creepier experiences of the
Right.
game.
I think my best moment it's a really quick one. You guys
Yeah.
have like elaborate. Mine was just this one kill that was just really funny because I was testing around and I threw the spring bomb on a Weeper, I think.
Okay.
And it exploded and all limbs falling off and
Sure.
the head kept rolling and it just kept going down and I just watched it as I like down the hole and then down into the sewers. And I was just like, wow, that was, I don't know. For some reason, it's just like a moment where I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
never going to see that again.
Any
Hopefully. I never
hopefully,
see that
yeah.
again.
Any Idle Thumbs listener or Far Cry 2 player can understand the grenade rolling down the hill. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, right.
right. You know, that had gravity and hill simulation. And so, like, if someone threw a grenade and it was on a downhill slope, it would just roll towards you.
Yeah.
It was awful. But super fun at the same time.
This is one of those games that I suffer from virtual tourism. This and like The Last of Us.
Oh,
The
man,
art
yeah.
design was so good in this game. I just wanted to see all of Dunwall. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I liked about it too. Even though it wasn't like a super open world,
Yeah.
it was still a really good playground to go inside like houses and windows. I found that
Yeah.
very like, oh, can I go in there? Oh, I can. Like it wasn't really too much of like, nope, I can't go into there. I can't go into there. It was very like, no, you can go in there, see it.
To be fair, it had a share of that too, but it also had
It didn't have
never,
it as much.
And yeah, you never felt limited. Even though there were unopenable doors and things like that.
Right.
It never felt limited, which I thought was great.
It's a game that encourages exploration and experimentation in ways that other games just don't. So,
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a playground. It's just very there, and you're just trying to figure out how to get to there.
Yeah, I think it's in like the first level. There's like a guy being held prisoner, and there's like two guys right outside the door.
Yeah.
And they don't move. And like the different things you can do to those two guys is really interesting. Like, you can try to talk them out of it. You can try to bribe them. You just kill them.
Yes.
What I tried doing was like blinking right behind them, even though I was a little too close for them to not notice. Hey, school guy.
So this is a game too that was over before I knew it. Like, I mean, I very much enjoyed it, but I was like, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
The ending was incredibly abrupt, I guess. And I was at a point where like I felt finally like I'd graduated, right? Like I finally had this muscle memory where I was just executing people effortlessly. I mean, because there's a gradient, you're learning and understanding the systems. And right when the game ended was when I felt like I'd mastered it. I was Bruce Lee, just slaying fools. And so I guess my question to you guys would be, I know they've released some DLC, which has been interesting-ish. What do you want out of a sequel? Because the minute I put this game down, I wanted to play more of it.
Right. Well,
because I finally mastered it.
Yeah, it's a good question. Sequel.
Personally, I've talked to you exactly what I want out of a sequel. It turned into Assassin's Creed 4, but
Pirates.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to do was like you're a whole another person. You're not Corvo. But you're also chosen from the outsider, and you're like a captain of a pirate ship, and then you have to like sail the seas between like two of the fictional countries, and there's like some conspiracy throwaway plot, you know. It's Dishonored. Apparently, plot
doesn't matter. Whales, oil, just stab.
Anyway, and then you have to collect your own whale oil by whaling, and so I thought that'd be really cool to like blink on top of a whale and like harpoon it and blink back to your ship. Like
sounds awesome.
Yeah. So I was
just visually seeing that where just go.
We're talking about virtual whales, PETA, calm the fuck down.
And also in the DLC, they show these whales, which are like totally fictional. They have like octopus mouths and like.
In the Knife of Dunwall, which is the best titled DLC of all time, they have an actual whale that's suspended and gutted, but still alive. So entrails are coming out, and it's just awful.
But what I would like would be open water game.
Sure.
You know, so like you can go to different oceans, you know, and kind of Metroidvania-ish, that it's locked off by different abilities.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it's like to get into this fort, you have to have Blink level 2 or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't know, you playing a sequel if one comes out?
Yeah, I know. I would kind of go for a pirate open seas. That was a really good idea of the setting. I just feel like maybe the mechanics just to be improved, just bigger, and then more options. I mean, if they just did that, more options, a bigger place, I think you're just delivering more
from a more micro level. What I want out of a sequel is going the non-lethal route. I felt like 2/3 of the way through the game, I was done leveling up.
I was just gonna say this. Absolutely.
Right. Because you needed that certain.
Yeah, it's like, well, I don't need whirlwind. I don't need rats. I don't need the like rage meter.
Right.
I don't need.
I'm not doing that.
I don't need the ash kill thing.
You upgraded those like 2 times, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just done.
So we want more stealth options.
Just a little bit more of like a progression.
Yeah, more interactions. I think.
Okay.
So more ways to be stealthy.
And then just having that environment of interacting with people and understanding the world that they paint beautifully.
Yeah.
And getting those like journals or notepads that we read to be a little bit more interesting.
But also like a talking protagonist. I think that really hurt Dishonored.
I think it did too.
I don't think so. I'm fine with a no talking and just because that is the style of just like you are that character. How you react should be not.
I mean, I understand that design ethos, but
that's why Blink's name is Link and everything. But after playing Last of Us and Red Dead. And
to a lesser degree, Metro Last Light, you're a talking first-person protagonist, and it really did something to have you interact with the world. I understood our team. It was more interesting. It's more compelling for me.
Things on that, because when I hear somebody talk, I feel like I'm the ghost of that guy, and then just kind of like, oh, that's what he's saying, you know, rather than I'm the actual person. They're directly talking to me, and how I respond could be any way you want. You could be very like, yes, or you can be like, F this and F that.
Well, how did you feel? Did you play Mass Effect?
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
Ooh, good question, Nick.
That's for another time.
No,
that's big. That's big. I feel like
you can do a Cliff Notes response. We're running out of time, but Cliff Notes response.
Did you feel like, in this sense, did you feel like you were Shepard?
I mean, yeah, I did feel like I was Shepard. Like, I know you can still achieve that.
Yeah.
But I don't think not having a voice there hurts unless you do it right. Unless you design where the characters and you're really engaged in that story.
Okay.
Because you can say with Bioshock Infinite, right? You know, Brooker, he has that. You know, you can hear his voice.
Yeah.
very well done.
I would agree.
You definitely feel the emotion, but sometimes you can get that without having an actor that you're playing.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so Nick, kind of final thoughts on Dishonored. I think we've covered it fairly well.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk for hours on this game.
know.
I mean, we really could. But I mean, what else do you want to say about it?
I think the only thing I want to say about it is that the phrase that Arcane keeps saying, that's player controlled, I think is awesome, and I think more studios should approach all games of player driven games. So not only through mechanics like Dishonored does, but also I think The Walking Dead does a really good job of player-driven story.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I think it creates such a powerful experience. And something can be said, again, for constructed experiences as well, like Last of Us and Spec Ops. I think those can be also powerful. But I also really like these player-driven experiences. And just having that one hyphenated word kind of drive your design and your making of the game can make it so much stronger. And I hope more games do that in the future.
Okay. Cooney, what do you got for me?
I want more knives and damn nasty, tell you what.
Classic Cooney. Who knew?
I think it's a great game. Definitely, if you're a fan of stealth games, this is a game for you. You'll really enjoy it. I enjoyed it as a stealth game.
Yeah.
The story needs to be developed a little bit more. I just want more of it because I like it.
Yeah.
And that's a positive thing. It's just like I like it. You just gotta give me more and just let me, experience the world that you painted, which is beautiful. So, is it the best game ever? I wouldn't say that. I'm not gonna say it's the best.
Get the hell out of here. Just go.
It's not the best.
What? Why are you?
Here's the thing.
It was number 3 last year. Why isn't it the best game?
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good point. All right.
I think you just hit their camera. No, wait, it's back.
Okay.
Yay! I won't say it's the best game ever. I just didn't feel like it was my top. But but the design and the way they made me, again, when I smashed that drink and they still reacted like that, I was just like,
Yeah.
a lot of that detail. That's detail, and I want to see more of that. So it's a great game. If you haven't played it, play it.
So incredibly polished. You feel like there's some promise here in a sequel.
Definitely, definitely there's some promise in a sequel.
I'll say moment-to-moment gaming. This is some of the best I've played in recent years. I just enjoyed all of my time with it. I thought the level design was best in class. I thought the art direction was brilliant. And if you haven't played this game, guys, please play this game. So
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a show. I think we've covered Dishonored pretty well.
Well, it's in the show.
Nick, if people want to check out what you're doing on the interwebs, where can people do that?
You can, I think most importantly would be iTunes.
Yeah.
Pixel by Pixel is a podcast that Patrick and I co-host.
We do.
I gotta hear that.
Yeah, you got to be on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's the best podcast on the internet.
Oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah, no.
Dropping.
If you can't get enough.
I mean, aside from this one, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Of
totally.
course.
Yeah, if you can't get enough of middle-class white guys in plaid shirts talking about video games,
We are your source.
we are here for Pixel by Pixel. You can also get us on Twitter at Pixel Podcast and me at Nick_Long.
All right, excellent. Donell.
Well, like always, you can check out EXSPJA. We cover anime, video games, Japanese films, stuff like that. We have upcoming events for Blue Exorcism. They're having in LA. They're going to be premiering. We're going to go down there and try to cover it. And then we also got another big event for like a cosplay summer event down in Little Tokyo. So
Okay.
we're going to be covering that. New content's going to be showing up. Cosplay Spotlight. We're going to interview Harley Quinn. And,
Okay.
we get to see this cosplayer be Harley Quinn, and she's very spot on.
Awesome.
Jersey accent and all.
She's an actress. She works at NBC Universal.
Okay.
So she's like an actor, comedian.
I thought of you this week. As a matter of fact, I saw the best cosplay of all time. I saw the guy who was Ood from Doctor Who, wearing like a robe and carrying an Irish whatever the dude drinks from Big Lebowski. So he was the dude.
White Russian.
White Russian. Thank you. At any rate, you can follow me at P to the D's on Twitter. Check out Pixel by Pixel and everything that this talented gentleman's doing. We'll be back next week. We're talking Dead Space 3, and we're going to dive deep into that. So we'll see you 1-ish Pacific here next week.
See you later, kids.
presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.